think it's been a really good mix of learning from others and learning from self. And I really like this activity where we're learning kind of about our neighborhoods with our neighbors who we might have not otherwise met.
I heard about it through Facebook.
Yeah, I have some friends who know a little bit of, know Ed Whitfield and the Southern Grassroots Economies Project. So they told us about it, and we set up a GoFundMe campaign to get here.
Well, this is my first introduction into it, because beforehand I had no knowledge on it, but now I'm leaving here today with a wealth of knowledge, and I feel more inclined to go out and support this mission.
Yeah, we're trying to start up a tech cooperative in Little Rock, so there's 24 tech cooperatives in the country right now. We're trying to work on organizing cooperatively in the digital worker. Good?
Pretty
I really
good.
like it. Yeah, it's a lot more laid back at a conference. It's a little smaller, so we're able to actually talk to the people who are doing the sessions.
You do?
Yeah.
Anything particular speak out to you? Any session?
You?
I really liked the last session I went to, Workers' Dignity. We were learning about worker democracy and governance, and so that was pretty interesting.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed the session on converting traditional businesses into cooperatives. I feel like that spoke more to me because I have a traditional business background, and I feel that most businesses need to move towards that model and get out of the outdated model because it's not working. It's working for them, but it's not working for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. It was awesome, and we hope that this continues and grows into a network of people who are organizing the South for
Right on.
worker democracy.
Well, my friend Austin Sauerbry, who helped organize this conference, told me that we're going to do things on cooperative building in Nashville and learning how to do this effectively. And I think we really need to do this, especially with housing as expensive as getting and creating jobs for folks in the real estate industry that are more sensible than focusing on making a profit, but just making a good living wage and having maybe some construction co-ops, just getting it going, solving some of the issues that we face here in Nashville. Well, I lived in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and there's a Weaver Street Market, which is a cooperative. We have a radio station and also a cooperative real estate development company. And I came from there to Nashville, and I was surprised that there are like no co-ops here. There's consumer co-ops, but no real co-ops. So I'm really excited that we're starting to talk about this and hopefully build something up. Breakout session with the woman from Madison, Wisconsin, talking about how city government can help foster co-ops and support them. It was really interesting because I know we have city council members in Nashville and a new mayor who want to see things being done in a more equitable fashion with housing and economic development.
Austin Sauerbry actually reached out to myself and Alandria Williams at the Highlander Center because he actually came out to CoopEcon last year, which is an annual event put on by the Southern Grassroots Economies Project. So he wanted to basically replicate CoopEcon locally. So he reached out to us, and that's how I heard about it. So I actually used to work, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I used to work at an organization that was formerly a co-op, became a nonprofit organization with a business within it, and then was trying to figure out, again, how to go back into being a cooperative. So we connected with a co-op developer in Texas called Cooperation Texas to really learn about how to do that, and then ended up connecting with the Southern Grassroots Economies Project. Absolutely beautiful. I want to figure out how to make sure that the way that it was laid out today, the program continues to exist in local communities. And also the outreach that was done for it is beautiful. It looks like we have everyone, from political officials to business owners to co-op owners to folks who are just generally interested in figuring out how to address the issues in their communities.
This is Ray Herring, and I'm the organizer with Reach 2020, which is a project out of Meharry Medical College determined to bring healthier foods into the food deserts of Nashville. And CoopEconNashville has served as a wonderful, giving us examples on how to do these kind of things and successful projects in other cities. So many times we hear the solution is to speak truth to power. Truth to power. Well, you got to know where the power is, and you got to know what the truth is. So groups like this are sitting down figuring out, okay, in my community, where does the power lie? And we're saying, these people have the power, or these entities, these businesses, public facilities have the power, and these are the people that can benefit from it. And it's not all about the haves and the have-nots. Like, everybody needs services. So when you speak in truth to power, especially sometimes in desperate situations, like what we're looking at in East Nashville with the gentrification, every block, as once African American community is now very few African Americans within a half square mile. Yeah. But we're looking at, okay, well, how did that happen, and how are we not going to let it continue to happen in other neighborhoods around Nashville?
I've been doing what many of us call co-op development for about 13 years as kind of my main work in the world. And going back about 20 years, I was a worker owner at a worker cooperative and worked with farmer co-ops in the fair trade movement. So that really lit a fire under me, and I've seen some powerful things happen in communities in the U.S. as well through cooperatives. So yeah, that's what I do. I didn't know much about Nashville. I was here briefly last year for a conference, but really haven't spent much time here. So I learned a lot about the dynamics of the economy here and gentrification and all the concerns and the challenges that's bringing. So it's actually pretty similar to what's happening with us in Oakland, California. And I was excited to hear the energy around making cooperatives part of the solution to that. And at the end of the day, it seemed like people were really coming to, land trusts and real estate cooperatives and housing cooperatives as a way to help people who are in this community stay in this community in spite of those economic forces. And I found that really exciting, and I'm going to bring that inspiration back to Oakland. I would say a couple of things. One is to make sure that you bring the best of developing people to work well together, to build amazing things together, and also developing businesses. Because if we want to change the economy, co-ops have to be great businesses as well as great democratic institutions. So bring both of those sensibilities to it and try to do your best at both of those things. The other thing is don't be afraid to connect into the mainstream. We have such an opportunity here. A lot of businesses are changing hands. We can turn some of those into cooperatives. And it's great that you engage government today, engage the economic development field, engage the churches, engage the unions, engage everybody, because there's so much we can do in this work. And just have fun. You guys are going to do a great job, and let those of us who've been doing it for a while in other parts of the country, let us support you, and good luck. So my name is Hillary Abell, and I'm a co-founder of Project Equity in Oakland, California.
So I came on purpose because in Jackson, Mississippi, we work with this organization, Cooperation Jackson, and we're about a year and a half old. And the principal driving force is that as a planet, as a people, we're going to have to transition away from an extraction economy toward a just economy. And cooperatives are a means that we can do that together, instead of the way that we've set things up as a hierarchical structure in which people at the top make a lot of money and people at the bottom are all the workers, and they use workers as if they are cogs in a factory, parts of the machine to keep it all going. But the good thing is that we still have the freedom to gather together in these cooperative businesses where everything is mutually beneficial. What we're doing in Jackson, Mississippi is we have put together a garden. We have a community garden, and from that we've been doing it now for about a year. And our next step is to do a restaurant, to take the food that we grow in the garden and have it part of our restaurant. So this is all cooperatively done, where we all share the benefit of what we're working on. And we want to serve as a model to the other businesses and the other people in the community that we can actually work together. We don't have to work against each other. So
Good deal.
I'd say that it's no longer an option. It's no longer an option. We can see what happens when the first priority of any business endeavor is profit for a few. You see what happens. That impoverishes a large group of our people. And but when we change our thinking to say, how are we all going to rise? That concept of all boats rising together. It works. So I don't know about the Nashville community in particular. I know y'all got some good things. I've met some great people here that are working together, and we had a pretty good representation of the community, and I was glad to meet some people from various organizations. So I think you've got some good promise here. Martin Todd Allen.